Some other news now. After being hit by double floods, riots, load shedding, torching of trucks and even a tornado, businesses in the eThekwini metro are facing an uphill battle for economic growth. On the back of this, Macroeconomics Research Unit in the University of KwaZulu-Natal has launched their Durban Business Confidence Index report for the second quarter of this year. It's a collaborative project with the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry as well as eThekwini Municipality. Now, the data collected from the business community is used to help determine the current economic climate, the future direction and commerce of that city. To tell us what the latest index has found, we're joined now by Dr. Ntokozo Nzimande, who's the Research Associate in the Macroeconomics Research Unit at UKZN. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Doc. And it's an interesting report here because you would find that business confidence across much of the country has remained at subpar levels probably for the last 3 or so years with the advent of the pandemic. But what were some of the key findings of this index when it comes to Durban and the confidence or the sentiment that businesses have operating there?
Thanks so much. So what we found in Durban is that the index, the confidence has declined from 43.27 in the previous quarter to about 37.28 in the current quarter. So we started constructing this index last year, in the third quarter of last year. So this is the fourth index that we have released. And what we have noticed is that it has declined for the second consecutive quarter in this period.
What are some of the challenges that businesses are grappling with in the city that would make them think twice about continuing their investment and growth in Durban?
So as you know that KZN has been experiencing some difficulties over the year. Those are some of the issues that they have cited. But then what we did, we have included some service delivery questions so that to help us understand or make sense of the index. And what we have noticed is that some businesses, they complain that whenever they launch a complaint with the municipality, sometimes it takes time for their complaints to be attended to. And in most cases, they are not attended to. And one of the issues that they highlighted was safety, security, and crime in the area of Durban. So those are the main issues that they have highlighted in this present report.
Yeah. What about issues of infrastructure? And you did say service delivery. A lot of businesses have complained about the lack of provision of water and the like, but also that the infrastructure around them is not great and I suppose has been made worse by the huge weather disasters that the city and other parts of the province, I suppose, have experienced.
Yes, infrastructure is one of the key challenges that eThekwini is currently facing, and it has had, the disasters that have occurred in KZN have had significant impacts on the infrastructure. And what we noticed in the previous quarter was that some businesses were complaining that even to fix the damage that was caused by the disasters, it is taking time for the city to fix those damages that occurred during the disasters. And now, recently, you'll know that at eThekwini there has been another disaster, especially in the area of Inanda. So we expect that will also have a significant challenge. But what was even more interesting is that you know that eThekwini is the hub of KZN. So what was even more interesting was that the complaint was, the confidence on the transport, storage and communication had significantly declined from around 66 index points to less than 42 index point in this current quarter. And what now we think will happen with this torching of truck, that will significantly affect that sector, and we think this is the major contributor to the decline of the index because, as I've said, that in the previous quarter we reported that the confidence in this sector was around 66 index point, but now it just went to less than 40 index points. So this was the major contributor to the decline in the confidence of the economy of eThekwini.
Yeah, and then there are also other key indicators, Doc, that will also determine the improvement of confidence, the higher inflation and input costs, the devaluing of the rand, South Africa being grey listed. These are also key indicators that I'm sure businesses would consider when it comes to continued investment in eThekwini, I suppose any part of the country, in fact.
Yes, those are some of the key areas that businesses are looking into. And in our surveys, we also, like I've said, that we have some questions that we usually include so that we make sense of the index. And one of the issues that they are highlighting is the increased cost, which obviously affects their profitability and so on. And I think the country, not just South Africa alone, but globally, the issue of rising cost is a key issue for businesses. And the cost of labor, not just prices, even the cost of labor for businesses, it's also one of the major measures that businesses are facing. And also, because what we know now, we are currently experiencing load shedding, and that has significant impact on the profitability of the businesses, and it really kills the confidence in the economy, not only in eThekwini, but in the country as a whole.
And then finally and briefly, if you will, did the index look at the construction mafia and the impact of business sentiment operating in Durban? We do have a big property developer of affordable houses, Calgro M3, announcing months ago that they will now no longer invest in housing projects in the city because of the increased risks associated with the construction mafia.
Yes, that's one area that is very critical because over the time, since the inception of the index, the confidence in the construction area has been very, very low. It has always been less than 50 points, and it continues to decline. And we suspect that the construction mafia could be one of the significant contributors in the low levels of confidence around construction. And we just hope that the government will immediately address this issue in the construction sector because it talks to the development of the province and the eThekwini. If it's not addressed, it will have significant impact on the economy of eThekwini and obviously of the province and the countries as well. Because you'll remember that eThekwini is the major contributor to the economy of the province of KZN, meaning that if eThekwini is affected, that will have significant impact on the province, and the province, KZN, is the second largest contributor to the country's economy. So if the province is affected, that will obviously affect the country as a whole. So we just hope that the government will prioritize addressing this issue because, as I've said earlier, that one of the issues that was highlighted by businesses was crime. They don't feel safe around the city of eThekwini. So, meaning that the government really needs to look into this issue of construction mafia as it kills confidence in this sector and therefore contributing to higher levels of unemployment in the city and the province.
Very interesting index indeed, Dr. Nzimande. Thank you very much for breaking down some of the key details coming out of it. And that is Dr. Ntokozo Nzimande, who's a research associate in the Macroeconomics Research Unit at UKZN.